MyMac podcast 932. Cloud confusion.
And welcome everyone to this week's MyMac.com podcast. Thank you for joining us. Now, what we're going to talk about in the more serious part of the show today is cloud computing, because whether you like it or not, it's here to stay. The public and now computer companies are making this a fact by changing many of the ways they create computers these days, and Apple isn't immune to it either. So what is it good for, and how deep should you go into it? That's going to be the big topic for today. And as usual, I'm joined by Mr. Gaz. Hello there, Mr. No bounce today. I did it right. I did it right. There was no bounce, but most people won't know because they don't watch the video. Okay, so anyway. So here we are. Here we are, Gaz. It is so good to see you. How are you?
Well, I'm bouncing.
I know. Well, no, see, you bouncing, that's fine. It's when the screen goes.
I'm absolutely sponsorific. Thank you, Guy. We had quite a busy week. I did a few bike rides, did a bit of work here and there, got a little bit of pocket money, and had friends round today and who were coming around in the morning. I said, okay, come around for a coffee. Then I said, do you want to stop for lunch? And they went about an hour ago.
Oh,
so
good.
But we've been sat outside all the time. The last 2 days here have been basically full on sun, and it's been quite warm. So we've been sat outside enjoying the weather. I need to get onto my Mac because I need to do a lot of East Midlands accounts as we're coming up to our AGM and we have our year end. So I need to get a move on with that, to be perfectly honest with you, which means lots of numbers crunching in numbers on my Mac.
Oh, you did it again.
So yeah, been a very good week, very enjoyable. And it's a long weekend over here. We have Good Friday as a bank holiday in the UK, which means that most people can have the day off, not everybody. Although if it's a bank holiday, that means they get it in lieu. So it means that they can take it at another time. And we also get Monday off as that's a bank holiday. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. So we're looking forward to eating lots of chocolate, possibly on Sunday, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
You know what's even better than Friday? A Friday and a Monday off is not having a Friday and a Monday off and having to work, because that's what we do here in the US.
Well,
that just makes it,
more for you. That's all I can say. More for you. What's even better than that, Guy, is not having to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
My wife is in that same boat.
Yeah. I think we might have mentioned that before. Anyway,
when I go to work in the morning, she does say, "I hope you have a nice day." So
I bet she does. I always say that to my wife as I lay in bed waving goodbye.
That pisses her off.
Aside, I'm gonna ask how you are, because I see an eye which seems to be in a lot better condition than perhaps it was in the previous week.
Well, I still can't see out of it, but and it's still a little weepy. But I have another appointment on Wednesday, but the really cool thing that's going on is next weekend that's coming up, is the New York trip to go see Peter Pan Goes Wrong with the original UK cast at whatever theater it is that that they're on. But my son Peter and his girlfriend and my son from another father and mother, Jake, and his wife are joining us, and we're gonna stay at a hotel by the airport in New Jersey.
Lovely.
Yeah, right there on the landing pad. We'll be like, oh, there's the 915. Glad it made it down safely.
Not noisy at all.
No, it's just a airport hotel. Though I have stayed at airport hotels before, and I find that generally the better ones have a lot of sound insulation. I remember a number of years ago, and this is, of course, apropos of absolutely nothing. I was in Hawaii, and we were a week late getting there for work, so we couldn't stay at the original hotel that we were going to stay at because it was mostly occupied by NFL players for the Pro Bowl. So we ended up at the airport Marriott. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my God, listening to planes come in all day and all night. And my room actually, I could see the runway from my room and couldn't hear it at all. So yeah, most airport hotels, if they have any class, will have enough sound isolation, or not isolation,
Insulation.
insulation, yeah, to make that not a thing. And but anyway, so that's what's going on. We're going to go up to New York. I talked to Peter and Jake over the weekend because after the play on Saturday, we're going out to a New York steakhouse. Ooh, ah. I
Ooh.
told them, you know what? I arranged the train, I arranged the hotel, I arranged the tickets.
Yep.
You guys arranged for the reservations for the restaurant. So
Fair enough.
I'm anticipating that my Big Mac will be utterly delicious.
I enjoy a Big Mac.
Yeah, they call them Mac Studios though now, Gaz. Just so you know.
Nicely done. Nicely done. You're getting the hang of this, aren't you?
Yeah, well,
It's only taken 13 years
13, 13, almost
plus
20. If
plus
you
I was if you let me finish, I
yeah,
was just gonna say plus the rest.
yeah, like Gilligan's Island. And the rest, I'm gonna stop singing. Nobody wants to hear me sing.
No.
So that should
I've
probably
just been
lead
brought some eggs
into
in. Look, for those on the video, I've just been
ooh,
brought in some little mini eggs.
are those like the malted milk ones?
No, these have got chocolate through them.
Oh, okay, okay.
Hmm.
I love have you ever had malted milk balls covered in chocolate?
I probably have.
I don't know what they call them, and they may be
No.
called something different in the UK.
Are you talking
They're really
about
good.
malted milk covered in, like, dark chocolate?
Or whatever kind of chocolate.
Milk chocolate?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I think I have. Yeah.
Okay, I love those, and at Easter time, they
These have
make
got a
them
hard shell.
covered
These
in,
have got a
like,
hard
a
shell.
candy
So
shell.
so for any yeah, these have got a hard shell. So there you go.
It's
That
like a
that
melted
that actually that sound is actually the beach stone bird sound. That's whenever you're on the beach and you hear that, that is actually a very special bird called the beach stone bird. They're very rare, you know.
why are they rare? Yeah, people killed them because they got tired of shooting stones. Shoot the bird, shoot the bird.
Which we don't
Loud.
recommend.
No, don't shoot.
Anyway, we've gone off subject. I don't know why. It must be because we've got chocolate in our future, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, we have. I don't know about you. Do you get
Oh,
Easter
yeah.
eggs for yeah, yeah, good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What a
We have a couple of
stupid question,
Cadbury's,
Gaz. What a
couple of
stupid question, Gaz.
pretty much, yeah. A couple of Cadbury eggs, and some chocolate
Oh,
bunnies.
do you get
Solid.
Cadbury do you get the Cadbury eggs with the you know, the creamer in the middle?
Yeah, yeah.
Mind you,
But
Cadbury's been taken over by an American company, hasn't it? I think it's an American
I was
company now.
that's what I was gonna say, because one of my absolute favorite chocolate bars, and, welcome to the chocolate show, everybody, is, Cadbury's Fruit and Nut Bars.
Everyone's a fruit and nut case, crazy for those something nuts and raisins.
I love those things. However, the first time I actually had one, was in, East Coast of Africa, and they were the UK version of
Totally different.
Cadbury's.
Totally different.
And when I got back to the States, I was at the grocery store and I was like, "Oh, they've got them here." And I got one and I bit into it and it was like, it's still good because it's chocolate with raisins and peanuts, but it
It's not the
wasn't
same.
the same chocolate.
Now,
It wasn't the same chocolate.
there is actually a difference, quite a massive difference between, and I'm being deadly serious when I tell you
Yeah.
this.
Oh, no,
There
I
is a
I
difference
believe
between the chocolate that's made in the US
mhm.
and the chocolate that's made in the UK. And there is a chemical in American chocolate which reminds many Europeans, not just Brits, but many Europeans of the taste of sick. And I'm being deadly serious here, and they've actually notched it back that this chemical can actually remind people of the taste. I'm putting everybody off now, aren't I?
Mm.
But most Brits, when they go
These
over,
people that bite into a big bar
they
of
do not
chocolate.
like, and I must admit, when I first went over to the States and had some chocolate, I said, "I am never touching another American bar of chocolate because it's just this awful." But it's
It
the
depends,
there
honestly,
was there was some reasoning behind why we taste it, and you just got used to it. This, so
'cause
we
that's what we
we
have.
recognize it as being this, but you've just got used to that flavor and kind of ignore it. It kind of goes out of your taste buds for whatever reason. I was listening to a show on it. It was quite interesting, but it's, I thought, no wonder I didn't like the American chocolate when I tried it.
Well, the
Yeah.
crazy thing is, and I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm really, really good at having things come into my mind and then just immediately leave.
Yes, I do know that.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So that should probably lead into
Gaz's snippets. Well, got there in the end.
vomit flavored chocolate.
Yeah, it's not it's the chemical which reminds people of that. It just something in the back end.
Mm.
It doesn't make it taste the vomit. Before I go on, and I'm gonna need to speak to somebody about my tip from last week as well. Not somebody, I'm gonna
Okay.
need to mention it on this show because you're the only one that's listening to me at this point in time. Let me start again.
Okay.
Right. Gaz's snippets. Right.
There you go. Bring it all the way around.
Spotify's sound quality is noticeably inferior to Apple Music guy. Who says? Probably Apple. I don't know who says it. I
Yeah.
don't know who's actually Mac Daily News has said that. No, mind you, Mac Daily News doesn't actually do any link. They link to lots of other newscasts. So I'm not sure where
And
that's
the thing
come
to
from.
remember, Gaz, is they're not gonna be biased at all. Not
No, no,
at all.
no, no, no. And because we like saying Wedbush,
Push.
UPS. I've read that as Wedbush, UPS guy. How I should have read it was Wedbush ups Apple's price target to $205. So it looks like Apple is starting to go back up again because everybody is so excited about the new headwear that might be coming.
That Apple has said absolutely nothing about ever,
Well, not
ever.
quite ever, but well, they have because he
No, they've
keep well,
talked
not
about
the
AI.
headset. No,
They've
true,
talked about
true. No,
they've talked
true.
about
Very true. Yeah, very
not
true.
AI,
I
virtual reality
Yeah,
and, what's the other one?
AR,
AR. Yeah, I was gonna say alternate
actual
reality, but
reality,
no, that's here.
actual
That's
reality.
here. Yeah.
Oh,
No, there's no
oh,
actual
I
reality
re
here.
this is supposed to be snippets.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott's Napoleon is arriving in theaters worldwide in November before streaming on Apple TV Plus. Can I just say the vast majority, not all, but the vast majority of films get streamed, and so they should in theaters before they get streamed out to any platform.
Before
Apart from
before we get off of this, I was listening to, Tech Fan with Tim and Dave, which is a
Mhm.
great podcast that you guys should be listening to if you're not. And they had a story about Netflix is gonna pare down the number of films that they're going to make because apparently they were making a ton of them, but they
Yes.
were mostly garbage. So, they're seeing Apple and HBO and some of these other streaming companies coming out with these films that are winning Oscars and, getting all these awards. And people are like, "Yeah, well, you know, um, Chocolate Sickness 4 just didn't really do it for us as a film over here on Netflix. So, maybe they'll make better films." Chocolate Sickness 5, I'm hearing, is gonna be gangbusters.
I might get on to another film that Apple have released recently, but
Okay.
I'm going to move on now. Apparently, Guy, an AirTag has helped a Texas man find his stolen truck. The confrontation ends in a deadly, meaning tragic, firefight. Apparently, San Antonio, Texas, a man's truck was stolen from his driveway. But there was an AirTag inside the car. Using the location of his AirTag, he was able to track down the truck and found it in a shopping centre across town. He then called the San Antonio Police Department and reported his truck as stolen. But he didn't actually wait for the officers to show up before taking matters into his own hands.
Hmm.
Police said the man saw his truck in the parking lot, walked up to the stolen vehicle in an attempt to confront the person inside, and some sort of disagreement ensued. At this point, some of the details are a bit unclear. The police say they could not confirm if the man suspected the thief. They could not confirm if the man and the suspected thief argued. According to the police,
they would have. Hey,
according
you stole my car, but
maybe not. According to the police, the car theft victim believed that the suspected car thief was armed with a gun, leading to a firefight. In the gunfire, the suspect car thief was shot and pronounced dead.
Did he have a gun as well?
It said, well, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say, but basically, it said they suspected. He suspected. Yeah. So, people, if you've got your AirTag and you're using it for something like this, maybe get the police involved and let them do the hard work rather than killing people. Because not only has he probably now lost his car, he's probably lost his life to a prison sentence.
Very possibly. Now, if the car thief also had a gun, then self-defense and stand your ground and all the usual defense that people throw up for that kind of thing. If the car thief doesn't have a gun, then the guy's probably screwed. And rightfully so. Don't just shoot people because they took your truck.
The heading, I like the way the heading said, AirTag helps Texas man find his stolen truck. Yeah. It did, but boy, should the headline read something slightly different to that.
Just as long as the victim's family doesn't say, well, it's Apple's fault and we're suing Apple in East Texas.
And that's the next piece of the puzzle. Apple to make a small number of job cuts in corporate retail teams. Apple is eliminating a small number of jobs within its corporate retail teams, positioning the move as a streamlining effort rather than layoffs. Apparently, there you go.
I'm sure that will make all the difference in the world to the people that no longer have it. No, see, I wasn't fired. I was
redundant.
I was dismissed due to redundancy. Okay.
PayPal now are officially launching an Apple Pay support for small businesses. So if that's you, go out and use Apple Pay on your PayPal process, however that works. Ahead of the Apple's 3K headset, which we don't know is actually going to appear, a survey has reported that only 4% of teens who own a VR device actually use it. I don't think a 3K headset is really aimed at teens, but I'll leave it at that. The Apple Music...
all about. Yeah.
We could go into a different subject, but I won't.
Well, actually, before you go, what this reminds me of was the big kerfuffle when the iPad first came out, and there was, well, what are you going to use a pad for? People are buying these pads and just throwing them into drawers. And as it turns out, a lot of people are doing that to Android tablets.
Oh, I like what you did there. You're such a sneaky devil, aren't you? Apparently, Apple Music trademark application has been blocked by the US Appeals Court. Apple lost a bid to register part of the federal trademark for Apple Music on Tuesday after a US Appeals Court ruled for jazz musician who challenged the company's application. Now, this trademark is a sign of Apple and music, and then I think it's got a live... it's got the word live after that with a circle around it. I think that's what's being...
that's what's being disputed as a trademark?
I think so, yes. I think so.
And this is a jazz musician that's disputing it?
Well, okay, the US Court of Appeals for the...
$2,000 and he'll go away.
You say that. The US Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit rejected Apple's argument that it had priority over trumpeter Charlie Bertini's Apple Jazz trademark rights based on its ownership of an earlier trademark from the Beatles music label Apple Corps Limited. The court, it's getting very complicated. The court allowed Bertini to block Apple's bid for a federal Apple Music trademark covering live performances. So it is the one that I mentioned. One of the several trademark uses Apple sought to secure. Yeah, so it's going on and on. Anyway, I've got a feeling that they might have a bit of a discussion with them. I've got a feeling that money will change hands, and I've got a feeling that Apple will end up with that trademark.
Honestly, just change it enough so that it doesn't look like that, Apple. You have enough money and marketing to do that, and then just move on.
You say that.
I know.
Apparently, Apple's senior sales executive, I'll say that again, Apple's senior sales executive is leaving the company for a role at the US. Well, no, hang on a minute. Hang on. You
Oh,
were too quick. You were too quick. I'm going to repeat that whole thing because the
okay.
ending to this just made me smile. Apple's senior sales executive is leaving the company for a role in the US Defense Department.
Okay. I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
That's why I said it made me smile.
Okay.
Should
So
we come back to that guy? He's a
no, see,
salesman.
tomorrow morning I'll wake up and I'll go, aha. So
He's
that was what it meant.
he's gonna sell defense. Anyway, Apple unveils the barricade of its first retail store in India ahead of opening this month. So they're opening a store in, I think it's Mumbai. I think it is. This doesn't tell me, but I think I picked that up from elsewhere. I've got to be careful how I read this. Apple has pulled out of Andrew Forrest. I see. It's hyphenated. They've hyphenated the word forest, guy. And that's, yeah, you're laughing because that's why I said I've got to be careful to how I read this. Because I could read this as Apple pulls out of Andrew Forrest. That's really not the sort of headline that I'd want my company to be associated with, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Got him drinks though ahead of time.
Let me finish it properly as it should be read. It's hyphenated and cut off because I'm not seeing the full article heading here. Apple pulls out of Andrew Forrest backed wind farm. That's a bit better, isn't it? That's a bit better. As the center is threatened of species controversy, apparently, obviously, there's going to be some global tech giant Apple has pulled out of a deal to buy power from a proposed Australian wind farm, majority owned by the billionaire Andrew Forrest, which is at the center of a threatened species controversy. There you go. So it's just that the headline made me laugh when I read it there. I like it.
I like those kinds of headlines. It's just ambiguous enough to make me laugh like hell.
This is a biggie. Okay. This is serious. Apple Arcade will be adding magical RPG Summon Quest to its roster this month.
Yeah, not a whole lot there for me.
Apple has said that it's closer than ever to having a completely carbon neutral supply chain. And Apple, and with that, basically the global suppliers expand the renewable energy to 13.7 gigawatts of power. So I hope what's happening here is they're not just saying we've invested in a load of energy companies which give out the equivalent amount of power which we're using from coal burning furnaces around the world. That's not how it works quite.
No. And China is like one of the leading countries in the world for coal burning power plants.
They keep building them. They keep building them. Yeah. They need a lot of power over there.
Yeah, apparently so. For all those carbon neutral Apple suppliers.
The US House Select Committee to meet with Apple CEO Tim Cook to discuss China.
What
Do
do
you
they
know what suddenly cropped into my
do?
mind then? Do you know what suddenly cropped into my mind? And I'm not being racist here. I just cropped into my mind, which was, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, tiddly po.
Well, we all know that's exactly how Tim Cook talks.
That's it. Just how he's going to speak to them. He's going to go, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong, ying tong,
Yeah,
ying tong, tiddly po. And they're going to go, yeah, we
yeah.
understand what you're
Thanks,
saying, Tim.
Tim. Appreciate you coming in.
That's a great insight, Tim. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. And then one of the senators will say,
Is there any insanity in your family?
"That's exactly
Yeah.
what they say."
Apple apparently has directed users not to hang up on operators in accidental crash detection calls. Yeah. Mm.
Wait,
If they're accidental, how can you hang up on them?
well,
Because you don't, if you've crashed and it's calling them and you don't know about it, well, you're not going to hang up on them, are you?
no, I think it's accidental in that it wasn't an actual crash that,
Yeah, I get
or
that. I
whatever.
get that. What my point is, if it's in your pocket where you had a crash or
You
an
won't even know
incident,
it anyway.
you may not know unless you
Yeah,
can hear your phone with someone going 911. Which service do you require?
yeah.
Is
I
that
need
my
new
phone?
sneakers. I fell
Yeah.
down because my sneaker fell apart. Send sneakers.
Apple has included a Bitcoin white paper in every version of Mac OS since 2018. Guy, did you know that?
Sure.
Oh well, I'll move on then. German and
Blew it all.
German antitrust regulator declares Apple a target for stricter controls. Tell me something we didn't know.
Yeah, thanks, Germany. Appreciate that. Yeah, you're a little late to the party.
Have you been moonlighting? Download the Fun Commander 2023 wallpapers for iPhone, iPad, and Mac from Basic Apple Guy. You're moonlighting, aren't you? You're
Well,
moonlighting.
I do a lot of mooning, but I don't get
Well,
paid for it.
you do a lot of mooning, there's just no light in it. Okay.
Absolutely not. No light at all.
Apple Weather app is down again, according to the company, and the company acknowledges the outage. I've got to say, Apple, you got to get that fixed. It's a weather app. You should open your weather app, and it should work. End of. If you keep having outages, people are gonna. This is not good for Apple. I gotta say,
No.
it's not good at all.
The part
And
that
it
cracks
doesn't.
me up,
And if any before anybody calls in or writes in, which we would love you to do,
we'd love
but
you to
before anybody says yes, but it wasn't Apple's fault. It was something. It doesn't matter. If I receive a parcel from Apple, it can get destroyed by the courier. The courier, as far as I'm concerned, have been selected by Apple. It means they are part of the Apple chain. It's Apple. So it
Guys,
doesn't
you are
matter if
absolutely right.
I don't know about that. But write in and tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. Because my wife actually came to me and she was like, I don't my weather's not working. And I looked on my phone, it's like I still saw it at that point. It was like, oh, mine's fine. Let me open it up. As soon as I opened it up, it was like, what? Completely gone. Like apparently there is no such thing as weather anymore.
Can I say that I've actually got 3 or 4 weather apps on my phone and I flip between a few of them to try and get an average. That seems to be the best way to actually know what the weather's going to do. Now, this next article surprised me somewhat. It's very US centric, but it says you can now buy unlocked iPhones through Best Buy. Huh?
Why couldn't you before? I wasn't
Best
aware that.
Buy is once again expanding the lineup of Apple products that it sells, starting today, whichever day that was. The company says it is now selling unlocked iPhones for the first time, but only certain models are available. That I found incredible.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you sell unlocked phones? If somebody walks into your store and says, I want an unlocked phone, sell them an unlocked phone.
Well, they're going to now, but they haven't done for all this time. I mean, how long has the iPhone been out? I know that it was locked in the US for a long, long time,
Long time.
but it became unlocked. It must be 6, 7, 8 years ago.
At least.
Anyway, Apple Maps redesign has expanded into Austria, Croatia, Czechia, Hungary, Poland, and Slovenia. Did I say that story last week? Documentary on tennis player Boris Becker is streaming now on Apple TV. Whichever way you look at Boris Becker or think about Boris Becker, he's quite a likable guy. I should be watching this, and I'm looking forward to watching this documentary.
I
It's just
always want because whatever happened to him, that happened in Europe.
well,
So
UK specifically, tax
okay.
avoidance.
Oh, is that what happened? Okay. See, when his name popped up in the news again, I was kind of like, yeah, I hadn't heard about him for a really long time. I wonder
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, he's been in prison. He's actually been in prison. So anyway, security
I hardly
breaches.
knew her.
Oh no, hang on a minute. I think I've got this article. Let me just check. Huh? Oh no. So I'm not going to read that article
Okay, good.
because it's
I didn't like that article anyway.
it didn't have anything to do with Apple, but it was just
Article.
it was a Gary Link rant. But I've got another
Okay.
one. Apparently, there's a plan for new offices in Cupertino, and it faces a public hearing next week. New offices? How much space do they need? I thought they were getting rid of people out of that building.
And they can't even, as far as I know, they don't even have the Apple Loop huge thing.
Hang on a minute. Perhaps I should read these articles before I just give you the headlines. A proposal to demolish an existing Apple building in Cupertino and replace it with a new Apple office on the same site faces a public hearing this week. There you go.
Okay,
That's why.
that makes more sense.
They're going for another circle, possibly somewhere. Apple's Irish operation profits increased to 69.3 billion. Wow.
Well, they like their Apple stuff over there.
They just can't stop making. Yeah, but it's kind of a European hub a little bit, I think, the Irish centre.
What, Ireland?
Mm. Yeah. It's.
Well, I know that's where a lot of their.
We used to when we were part of the EU. I'll say no more. Spit, and whoever thinks that was the right thing to do, come have a word with me, because I'll tell you now, I'll punch you in the face. Well,
how are things working?
I won't punch you in the face directly, especially if it's a big guy.
Yeah.
But
me to do it instead.
Yeah. How's that working out for us? Badly, guy. Badly. But anyway, a lot of our stuff used to come through Ireland. So yeah, I don't think that's all sales in Ireland directly. Scanning through. No. Anyway, moving on. Apple TV Plus unveils winner of My Kind of Country music competition series, Michaela Kleinsmith.
Oh, I was rooting for.
Oh, by the way, that last story I just mentioned, it's just probably lost us a load of listeners. So, yeah, sorry about that.
What, from Ireland?
No, Brexiteers, mate. Brexiteers.
Oh, well, who cares?
Yeah.
Honestly, that's like saying if you're offended because of something we said about Trump or Biden, it's like this show does all kinds of jokey things. Get over it.
Oh dear. Apple to report fiscal Q2 23 results on Thursday, May the 4th, guy. Yes. iOS 16.4.1 and macOS 13.3.1 patch 2 actively exploited security vulnerabilities. If I could actually say vulnerabilities.
And it'll happen on May the 4th.
If I could speak pretty. Yes. Update, folks. Update as soon as you can.
Yes.
Apparently, thieves have tunneled through a coffee shop wall to steal $500,000 worth in iPhones from a Washington Apple store. Have you been moonlighting again?
I can't say on advice from my lawyer.
Fair point. These coffee shops, they're really vulnerable.
Why the hell would a coffee shop have $500,000, or did they go through the coffee shop to get to the phones?
Did you not listen to what I said?
To what?
Thieves tunnel through coffee shop wall.
Okay. See, now the wheels start spinning. You can actually hear them grind. There's like teeth missing in some of those gears.
There's teeth missing everywhere. Apple has now stopped signing iOS 16.3.1 to prevent downgrading. You have been warned. That is the end of Gaz's snippets. However, I do have a Gaz's link. This link is to a link from an article from the Register, and the headline is "Child Hit by Car Among Videos Captured by Tesla Vehicles Shared Among Staff." Tesla workers over the past few years have reportedly shared sensitive and embarrassing videos captured by the cameras built into their customers' cars. You should not be doing that.
No,
Anybody ethically,
access.
those people need a slap around the head. That is
They need to get
disgraceful.
fired.
Any company, doesn't matter who it is, that is disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. And I tell you what, any company that's and this is the sort of thing, if Apple are found to be doing anything which they say that they don't, they're going to take a big hit on it. And I hope Tesla takes a big hit on that, because that is dreadful. And if anybody says, oh, yes, but it's a few staff shouldn't be doing it, they should have protocols in place which don't allow them to be able to do that. So that's poor admin from Tesla.
Any of the videos that come in from these cars that are stored at Tesla, wherever it is that it's stored, there should be protocols in place so that, short of a court order or possibly engineers who might use it to improve the product.
Yeah.
Nobody should be seeing those videos.
Well, only certain people should be seeing them. And if there's funny videos or videos which they think, oh, I'll push that one around because that'll make, because you get nasty people, when people, but I think it's the child that has been hit among the videos that have been captured by Tesla.
Regardless.
Dreadful. Now, if it's being shared appropriately, Guy, hang on. If it's being shared appropriately, but I've got a feeling that's not what's happened here. So,
as far as the child getting hit by a car, I would see it as possibly imperative that Tesla turn that video over to the proper authorities.
Well, I'm sure they have. It's the fact that it's been shared internally. And anyway, on a lighter note, the other link that I've got, which I think I've put into the show notes. Let me just make sure I've put it in. No, I haven't. So I need to put this one in. I haven't watched this fully. I've watched the first few minutes of it, and it's a video that shows what it's like using an Apple Lisa from 1983. So basically, link what you got to scroll down to the bottom, and it's about 10 minutes, the video, going through basically the Apple Lisa. So I'll put that in the show notes if anybody wants to click on it and have a watch of that particular video.
That was like the very first Apple computer I ever saw was a Lisa.
I've never seen a Lisa.
Yeah, my brother-in-law had one, and my niece and I managed, because it didn't have a internal drive. It was like two 400K
floppy disks. Yeah.
Right. And so when you wanted to load a program, you would have to load it through these floppy disks.
Believe it, kids. That's how computing used to work. You used to have to put your first disk in, and then you had to put the second disk in. And then if it was a really big program, you might end up putting 9, 10, 11 disks in, even more. And then your program would run.
And we managed to erase them. My brother-in-law was not happy.
No,
he was not a happy man.
Can't imagine that he probably wasn't.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the end of Gaz's links.
All right. For our serious part of the show this week, we're going to talk about cloud storage, Gaz. And it's something that you really can't get away from these days. And is it worth it to use like cloud storage instead of Apple's frankly ridiculous internal storage build to order pricing, or lugging around external drives? Apple, and I actually looked this up, they typically charge about $200 for each half a terabyte upgrade for the various Mac devices with the M2 Mac Mini if you max out its storage, will cost you an additional $2,400 if you choose the 8 terabyte option. $2,400 for 8 terabytes of internal storage.
It's quite a lot of money, really, isn't it?
That is a crap ton of money.
How much is that a megabyte? Carry on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Carry on.
well, 8,000 divided by 2,400, it's a lot. So what are the benefits of some cloud storage services? And for the sake of this discussion, we're gonna hold down the requirements a bit and not, like, go off on all kinds of tangents. So some of the things that you do with cloud services, syncing folders, sharing file links with others, folder sharing, which is not dissimilar to what I was just talking about, permissions, file editing, collaboration, versioning, file encryption is important, and whatever service you end up going with should have some kind of customer support. And this isn't even really a super long or comprehensive list, and your priorities for a cloud service could easily be different than mine, but those are the things I kind of look for. And what might it be good for besides just having a place for stuff? Now, stuff. One of the things that I use cloud storage for, and I'm not going to, because they don't give us any money. I'm not going to mention the service that I use, but is offsite online backups. And depending on how much storage you have locally, the amount that you would need for offsite storage shouldn't be determined by the internal storage of your computer, but the sum total of all of the storage that you have connected to that computer. So make sure that if this is one of your main reasons why you get cloud services, that you not only just have enough for now, but possibly potential future needs. And if you do it this way, set up a schedule for regular backups to that service and make sure it stays current. There should be easily downloadable forms if you have lost or mistakenly deleted certain files. And the service that I use also will provide a hard drive copy sent to you in case of a catastrophic failure like I had some time ago. And they sent me it was like a 4 terabyte thumb drive that was encrypted. So even if someone had stolen that thumb drive, they couldn't have gotten into it. And the encryption, oh my God, I can't even remember. I mean, they sent me an email with the key for it. But it was crazy, crazy long. And it took me a long time to finally get into it. But once I did, I was like, whoo. And as soon as I got done, and the way that my service worked was you got charged for that external storage that they sent to you. But if you returned it within like 30 days, they would refund that money. So, do you have an offsite storage solution, Gaz?
The only so two things here. I have an offsite location where I take a hard drive occasionally, and the only other cloud offsite that I've got is iCloud.
Okay, and if you have the full version that Apple will allow, that gives you up to 2 terabytes, which isn't bad.
Yeah, and so far that's been fine for actually in me and a number of family members in terms of them being able to back up their devices as well.
Yeah.
I think if you've got a lot of data, 2 terabytes, I think for most people is ample sufficiency.
Yeah.
You've
Well,
got
if
a
you're
lot of
talking
video.
about like pictures and stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've to give people. I'll tell you what, Guy. I'm just going to give while we're on that subject. I'm just going to go into my. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if I can find my storage iCloud. Here we go. So here we go. I have got a number of family. Let's see if I can manage it because it'll give me a little bit more detail, just to give you a rough idea. Remember, I've got 50,000 photos. So my photos take up 740-ish gigabytes. The family are actually only using 250 of that. Interestingly, Messages has got 14.6 gigabyte. So there's
Yeah.
far too many videos and pictures in Messages. I need to clean that out a little bit. Um, the backups are only taking up 37.6 gigabyte, which I know sounds a bit odd, but it's compressing that, I think.
Oh, sure. Sure, of course it.
Yeah, so and that covers us completely for 4 or 5 family members as well.
Well,
So
I'm
yeah,
glad you actually brought up compression because the next bit is data storage, and if
okay.
your offsite cloud service uses heavy compression, you don't wanna do data storage where, stuff that you're gonna have to go to on a regular basis because it will take a really long time for you to get to that stuff if it's heavily compressed. But unsurprisingly, cloud storage can be a great place to keep stuff, especially, as I said, if it's not stuff you need constant access to. A lot depends on how often you need to get to it and how fast your online speed is, which brings up a crucial point. How fast does your internet speed have to be to take advantage of cloud storage? And it's probably not as fast as you may think. If your upload download speeds are at least in the 20 what megabits per second, megabytes per second area, you probably have more than enough speed for regular kinds of use. A lot will depend on how many people in your household are going to be online at the same time
Mm.
and what each person needs. So if you've got a couple of kids that are like heavy gamers and you only have 20 to 25 MIPS of speed, that might be a problem. That could that could be a little bit of a problem, as well as if your cloud service heavily compresses, then that can also be a problem. One of the other great things that cloud storage does is file sharing. Instead of emailing or using USB sticks like a caveman, a simple online link can be used to share information and files from your cloud to another person. And certain precautions should be used before just granting someone access to your files, and the cloud storage company that you use should have strict limitations on where your visitors can gain access to. Another good one is collaboration. Now, Gaz and I, we use Apple's iCloud to share a lot of information back and forth, as well as Dropbox with multiple shared folders. And it works well,
Hmm.
but not without its own quirks.
Yeah.
And some of this comes back to your access speed and how quickly your service updates the information in your cloud files. Like, was it just last week we were trying to send a file back and forth, and it was almost Abbott and Costello.
This was
You
through
know,
Dropbox, wasn't it?
this was through Dropbox.
Yeah, it was.
We have a folder that's called and basically the file that I was trying to give to Gaz, or maybe it was you were trying to give me something.
Yeah, I was trying to send something across to you.
Okay, you put it in that folder, and I'm sitting there looking at it, going, "Well, I don't see it. I don't see it. Still not seeing it." And I have got like silly fast upload and download
Well,
speed.
so have I. So have I.
Yeah. So it should have been there like almost instantly, but instead, because of how Dropbox works, and possibly checking permissions of both people that are moving stuff in and out, it took probably 45 seconds, Gaz, before it finally
Long
showed up.
No, it was longer than that. It was
Was it
longer
longer
than
than
that.
that? And we
Yeah,
were
yeah,
both like,
yeah.
"Where the hell is it?" Because you could see it on your end, but I couldn't see it here.
Yeah, it just wasn't uploading properly, so I don't know what
Yeah.
was going on with it.
Um, File editing should also be possible. Now, with Apple's iCloud, because their internal applications, Pages, Numbers, Keynote, all the rest of that, rely very heavily on iCloud to store information unless you tell it differently. it updates pretty quickly. I mean, you and I, we use a Pages file for show notes, and almost instantly, I can see what Gaz is doing, and Gaz can see what I'm doing, and it works very, very well for collaboration. So whatever cloud service that you choose, and we're not saying that you have to or should use Apple's iCloud, though it's probably not a bad idea. If the service that you use doesn't allow for collaboration, or it's ridiculously long before like our Dropbox issue, then you might want to consider something else. Another thing that cloud servicing can do and can make your life easier is versioning of files.
Yes,
Now,
yes. Apple's quite good at that, I think.
with Time Machine,
Yeah.
yeah, but that Time Machine is a local function.
Correct. That's true. That's true.
So, and honestly, if Apple offered Time Machine in the cloud, I would consider paying for that instead of the service that I'm currently using, if it allowed me to include everything
Mm.
that I have attached to my Mac Mini. Something else that your service should have is file encryption for both uploading and downloading files, and some kind of customer support for when things, and they will go very, very wrong. So that's just kind of a brief idea on what I think and how I use cloud services. Gaz, is there anything in particular that you do that's different?
Not particularly. I'm quite heavily based around Apple. Dropbox, I'm not a massive fan because of issues that I keep having, and the complaints that I keep getting from Dropbox about the amount of storage space I've got left. And that's actually a bit of a pain with Dropbox, because if you share lots of folders with people, um, that takes up a lot of space, and somebody could fill your space up because they're putting a big file in which you may not be interested in, but somebody else within that sharing group may want to see and may need. And unless people uh, are um, judicious, I'll say the word in a minute,
That's a good one.
um, with their monitoring of those folders to make sure they keep them clean, then you can suddenly find that you've got to delete some of your stuff, or you've then got to delete that file, but you then don't know whether it's deleted just at your end or for your side, or it's the management.
Yeah.
It could be better with Dropbox, but I get it. They're trying to make you pay for the service, so you know horses for
And
courses. But I'm quite happy with iCloud at this stage.
and remember, everyone, that if your information is only in one or two places, it's really nowhere. It
Yeah.
is so very, very easy. Like, it wasn't even what, a month and a half ago, my Mac Mini went, "Brrrt," and when that happened, if I didn't have backups in at least 3 different places, I could have lost everything. And as it turned out, once I got the Mac Mini back, it was simply a matter of reflashing all that information back on that was there before, and I was back up and running. And it took some time because it was like 500 gigs of stuff, but at least I was able to get back to exactly where I was before the problem happened.
Cool.
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Gaz?
I'm nodding my head.
I think he is.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
Mostly.
Gaz's tips.
It's time for
Gaz's tip.
Command semicolon in Pages takes you. This is on the Mac, folks. Command semicolon in Pages takes you to the first misspelled word. Hit it again. Command semicolon, and it takes you to the next one, etc., etc., etc. I know some people do autocorrect, but if you don't, you like to just write it down and then do your corrections afterwards, then that, I think, is a very good short space. Control Command space brings up the character viewer. And there you can just add lots of emojis. That's a nice, quick and easy one. So Control Command Space. But this is, you normally got to be in Pages for this, I think. I'm just going to check that because yes,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah. I thought I checked it before, but I'm just doing it again. It may also work in other Apple Word documents as well, like notes, etc., and text edit, things like I don't. Or in fact, I don't know whether you can put it in text edit, but certainly in notes and Pages. Shift Command T will. This is not in Pages. This is in your Safari browser, I think. Shift Command T will reopen your most recently closed tab in Safari. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm often closing a tab and going, "Oh, I've got to reopen it." And a quick way of doing
Find
that
the
is
link
just
and all
going,
that. Yeah.
yeah. And a quick way of doing that is going Shift Command T. And if you want to go directly to the control, the address bar, sometimes you just want to type in the address bar. You don't want, and this also works in Safari for searching. If you press Command L, and that will take you straight, put your cursor straight into the address bar, which you can then put your search term in or type in the URL that you need directly. Okay,
The
maybe
only browser I have open right now is the one we're using for StreamYard, and I am somewhat reluctant to try any of those browsers.
Don't do it. Don't do it, guy. Here's another one if you're in Finder. And if you want to go directly to the airdrop window, because sometimes you want to airdrop something to somebody. Normally, you wouldn't do this on a Mac Mini or an iMac because you're not carrying it around. But if you've got a laptop, if you go Command R or Shift Command R, I should say, Shift Command R, that'll take you directly to the airdrop window. Equally, if you're in your Finder window, Shift Command D takes you to your desktop. The clue's in the letter. And it also, if you go Shift Command U, it'll take you to your utilities in Finder. So
Oh, it doesn't come right to me.
Sorry?
Shift Command U should have just come to me.
It should have done, but it doesn't, Guy. It's not all about you anymore. It's about me. Okay. So those for Finder very quickly again. Shift Command R takes you to your AirDrop window. Shift Command D takes you to your desktop folder in a Finder window, and Shift Command U takes you to your utilities in Finder.
And more head nodding.
Hit it. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips. That's the end of Gaz's tips.
Is that the end of the tip?
Will you let me finish?
Gaz, you are absolutely right.
There we go. Now, part of the reason why I'm laughing, actually, before I go into that, if you would like to help out in the Ukraine with all the terrible things that are going on right now, there's a timeout.com list of helpful Ukrainian donation sites. But if you don't want to do that, you can just go right to the Ukrainian Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders if you don't want to make it specific to the Ukraine. Those are all easy and I almost said fun, but no, it's not fun. Easy ways to help support people that are having problems in the world today. Now, I have a sort of pick. It's not quite a pick. I guess it's more of a preview. You and I were talking about this just before we started the show today.
We were.
One of my favorite companies is Rogue Amoeba. I use a lot of their products to produce this podcast. And I got an email direct from Paul Kafarsis, who is the head muckamuck over there at Rogue Amoeba. And he sent me a link.
I think that's his title as well, isn't it? Head muckamucker.
It should be. It should be. I'm going to suggest that next time I send him an email. And it's the new version of Farrago, which both Gaz and I use for various weird sound effects, like this one. Yeah, and others. And especially for a beta, it's quite impressive. The two big things that they've changed in it, there's some smart sets now that include favorites. So you can mark favorite sound effects, and that'll go to its own little set. And that's kind of what I'm using right now. The other thing that's improved, and this is something I've complained about with Farrago for a long time, I've never particularly cared for how you edit and crop and all the rest of that audio in Farrago directly. Typically, what I would do is take it over to, oh, darn it, Gaz, what is the name of that program? We were talking about it earlier.
Sorry, I was just trying to plug my
Your
phone
sound
in because the battery
your
was
sound
going out.
editor?
Sorry. Fission. Fission.
Fission, yes,
Fission. Yeah.
Fission. So I would take it into Fission, I would make the edits, and then I would push that back into Farrago. Well, they've really, really upped their game as far as audio editing goes. And I was showing Gaz this before we actually started doing the recording today. And what they've kind of done is taken some of the best bits from Fission and put that into the audio editor for Farrago. And it works really, really well. So those two things right there, not necessarily just the favorites, but the fact, that the smart sets feature and the vastly improved audio file editing will make Farrago 2 when it comes out a must-have if you're a podcaster. It's really, really a cool feature, and
It is.
I quite like it. And I'm gonna, get off of their ass right now, and we're gonna move on with the show. But yeah, check that out when it comes out. Now, Gaz, we don't have anything specific in feedback this week, but I did want to mention that I've been talking about the problems I've been having with my eye for a while now, and that I was when we had Mike Potter on last week, I was telling Mike that there's the possibility that I may not be able to go this year because trying to drive from Chicago, from O'Hare Airport in Chicago out to Woodstock, Illinois was going to be a nightmare with like no vision in this eye. And Bob Wood in particular has offered, and a few other people did as well, to pick me up at the airport, assuming that I'm able to go this year. And Mike Potter himself has offered alternative routes, Gaz, to avoid the worst of the Chicago area traffic. And I wanted to acknowledge those people and say thank you so very, very much. I really, really do appreciate it. And I have sent Bob a Woody before, but if you want a specially crafted Woody, and the way you get Woodies, and what is a Woody, Gaz?
It's it is a certified piece of documentation which you send out thanking the people for their input.
Yeah.
You wasn't expecting that response,
No,
were you?
I was kind of like, oh, damn, that's like an actual accurate description.
It's
so you can get one.
It's a big W, little O, little T, little I, little E ish. I can't remember how you say it, to be honest with
It's
you.
a big W, big O, big T, little I, little E.
Oh, they're big O's, are they?
They're big O. And believe me, everybody likes big O's.
That's not stating a true fact, but I'll go with it.
Sure. So you can get one by sending feedback in all of the various ways.
That's FWDBACK.
Yeah, and we'll get to all that in just a little bit. And I would also, but I mean, how else? By doing something special for the show is another way to get a Woody. And I have several different versions of Woodies that are out there, and each one is handcrafted with love. So
the love is the real important piece there, actually.
Yes. And there's so many jokes I could make that I'm just not going to, because this is a PG-13 rated show. If you would like to support this PG-rated 13 show, you can become a Patreon over at patreon.com/Macparrot. You can go to coffee, still makes me laugh, ko-fi.com/Macparrot. Or you can pay a pal through PayPal, paypal.me/Macparrot. Yes. Now, Gaz,
Yes.
if people wanted to contact you and say, why doesn't Gaz just go to Chicago and drive Guy himself? How would they do it?
Well, if they want to ask that question, and they are more than welcome to do so, you can contact me by sending an email to gazjz
Gaz.
mymac.com or on the Twitters, twitter.com/Gazmaz, GAZMAZ. Also on Mastodon, at Gazmaz. I always get the second bit wrong. At Gazmaz at c.im. I think I got that right.
Here is
I'm also on Counter Social as well, but I'm not sure whether there's any. But I am Gazmaz.
yeah, I've kind of gotten off of some of those. Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. You could Instagram. I'm on Instagram as well if you want to try and find me. What was I going to say? You can also send a tweet on the Twitters to twitter.com/Guy and Gaz GYANDGA. Wait for it. Z.
Cards.
You can also send an email to feedback@mymac.com. Now let's see if I can find. Yeah.
Guy, I need you to listen to me.
Did you hear that?
I
Did
did.
you get that? I'm going to play it again
Guy, I need you to listen to me.
because
Guy, we need to talk.
yes, we do.
Who are you, really?
Guy.
That's the answer, Guy. That's the thing. See,
Still Guy.
still Guy.
My guy?
My guy. I can't believe that you're my guy.
How many are there?
Well,
His name was Guy.
He's the guy.
Guy's the one. Guy.
Guy? Pay no attention to that guy behind the curtain.
Guy says,
Sad
no
face.
fooling.
Oh, thank you.
if you want,
An email from Guy.
how the devil would they do it?
It's so easy, Gaz. All
It's
you have
so
to
easy to send an email to Guy. It's so easy to send an email to Guy.
Now-
Send an email to Guy. Send an email to
An
Guy.
email. We've been doing this show for a really long time, and I'm going to test you now, Gaz. Open up you don't have to do it right now, but open up your email client of choice, and the email address that you would send that to me is
Guy.
at mymac.com. Yes.
Let me finish, did he?
Oh, sorry.
Just through. Just
So
again,
sorry.
he never lets
You
me
can-
finish.
You can also send that to
Even when he's
podcast.
talking and tells me to talk, he doesn't let me finish.
who? What?
3 days later.
Yeah. You
He's
can
the
also
guy.
Send that to podcast@vertshark.com.
Oh,
You can go on over to that website and see all of the content that I did 4 months ago. And that would be at vertshark.com. You can also find me on the Twitters. I am both Macparrot and Vertshark over there on the Twitters. I am Macparrot on Counter Social. I am Macparrot at Mastodon. And we have a Skype number, Gaz.
we do.
We do. And that number is 1 or +1 outside the United States. 703-436-9501. That number again is 1 or +1 outside the United States. 703-436-9501. And I know some people don't like to go through Skype. They're not fans of Microsoft, and I get it. So if that is just too hard, then go right to the Skype application and dial 703-436-9501, which completely contradicts how I started that.
No. They go to the Google voice number and go 703-828-4677.
Ah, yes. And what was that number again, guys?
703-828-4677.
That is
Call it
exactly what
now.
that is. Call it collect, call it direct, but call it today.
That proves I was
I would
listening
like-
to you.
Well, you're reading the show notes because that's the only way I remember that number.
No, but it proves I was listening to what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Which is
Well, it's not
normally
always
the case.
clear. It's not always clear that you're listening to the things that I say. So many times I look over and Gaz, and he's like,
asleep.
We would like to say thank you to all of the people who download and listen to the MyMac.com podcast. It is greatly appreciated, and we love the fact that you do so. Gaz, I think that in the cloud, we're good enough.
Oh, yes.
That from a distance, we're smart enough.
Yep.
Long distance, so far. And that Wilf gone it, woof. Where's Wilf? Woof. People like us.
Guy, did you hear that they now let babies into the army? Well,
Did not.
they have done, and they've formed an infantry. End.
Bunch of whiners in that outfit.
Ah, ha, ha, boom, boom.
So you can all go home and there's nothing to worry about. Get out of here now. Go on. Go on home and go home.